everybody. Welcome to the Rundown with Ramon. My name is Ramon Ray. You can get to know me better at RamonRay.com. Here we're talking to Elona Washington, and we're going to talk about two things, all things marketing. But as y'all know, we're going to get into much more important than that, where Elona has been and how she came to be today who she is. And again, this is the Rundown with Ramon. If you're hearing my voice and you want to get into the Rundown with Ramon, just check me out. You can email me, Ramon@RamonRay.com. We're here about two things: to help you live your best life personally and to help you build your best business. So with that, let's get started. And I know I asked you this, Elona, 47 times. It is Elona or Elona. For some reason, my mind can't get it. Tell me again. Tell your full name.
Oh, your mom got it right. It's Elona.
Elona Washington, welcome. Tell us who you are today, who you serve, how we can reach you today. Brag about yourself and tell us who you are.
Oh, man. If I brag about myself, it's going to take up the whole time of the show.
That's okay. I got time.
So I am Elona Washington, award-winning sales and marketer. I take your book from passion project to passion project. So I do what I can to make sure that your books are sold and your brand platform is elevated.
I love this. So tell me, those who don't use you, Elona, those who don't use what I'm assuming you have a system and a process and all that, those who don't do this and do their book on their own, what's the difference? What are they missing? Those who don't use you and those who are like, yeah, I told my grandmother and I told my grandfather, I told them to promote the book, but I sold two, I think. Maybe I sold one. What's the major difference that we're seeing difference?
Mm-hmm. The major difference is the support, because you can't do all things. You only have 24 hours in a day. You got a job, you got a husband, some kids, whatever, right? So what a lot of people don't realize is when you write a book, you basically created another business for yourself. So you may be an entrepreneur. You're like, okay, I want to write a book to help build my business, but that book becomes your business. So when most people come to me, they're overwhelmed. They're like, I didn't know I had to do all of these things just to sell my book. I thought I could put on Amazon and people would flock to it. It's like millions of books on Amazon. Why would they flock to it?
I love that. The book becomes your business. I do understand that as one who's written 5 books. Didn't use Elona yet, but I think I might do that for my 6th or 7th book. But you're right. It takes the life out of you. People think, oh, I tweeted 2 times. Why didn't the New York Times pick it up? Well, because you only tweeted 2 times. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll go back. But tell us what brought you to this point today. You're clearly, because you and I hang in similar circles, a very successful business owner. Not perfect. Sure, you got your challenges, but you are on the rise. But tell us a little bit about your journey, where you've been and what brought you here today.
Yes. So I have been marketing since 1999. So before the internet was the internet, and it was just a big old boring encyclopedia. So I fell in love with marketing then, and I've been marketing and doing sales ever since. What brought me to my entrepreneurial journey, honestly, I just cannot deal with the toxicity of corporate America. My system isn't built for it. I've tried to make it work, but it's just not me. I like freedom. I like independence. I like to, I don't know, on a Wednesday say, hey, I'm just going to go for a drive, right? And I don't like to answer to other people. Maybe because I'm the oldest and I'm bossy, that could be it. I'm also a Taurus, so that's probably a lot of it too. But this entrepreneurial journey, I have done it exactly 1 year, 1 month, and I've learned a lot. And what a lot of people don't realize is there's so much growth. Like, you don't think that you're going to grow as a person, but you really do become a different person. Like, as time goes by, you're a full-time entrepreneur. You're just thinking, I have to do this marketing thing, this accounting thing, this business thing, but you're going to grow as an individual.
I love it. So you've been in this particular business for 1 year, 1 year and 1 month doing this.
Yes.
And remind us that the website, and remind us the name of your business one more time. The name of your business and the website. Tell us again.
So I have 2 websites, 2 businesses. So I have C7 Marketing, which is my marketing company, and then I have the Author's Journey, where I focus on authors.
Got it. Okay. And so before doing this 1 year of doing the marketing, what were you doing before that? And then before that, walk us through that journey of some of the pillars, the what do they call it? Jumping on the lily pads on the ocean, or pillars, whatever it is. Walk us through some of that trajectory you got here.
So I was a marketer for a top traditional publisher, like the Fortune One. I mean, you'll find out on LinkedIn if you when you follow me. But I was a marketer for HarperCollins Christian Publishing.
Say no more.
Yes, so I learned a lot about the traditional publishing side of things, as well as the self-publishing side of things, because I've been self-published since 2016. So getting that traditional piece kind of just
Reiterates.
reiterate.
I think. I'm not an English scholar. I talk gangster hood, so I don't know. But go
I
ahead.
mean, I probably should be. This is like writing books, right?
It's all good.
It's been a long day. So reiterated the fact that authors need marketing. No one is going to do it for you. No one is going to hold your hand. No one is going to say, sis, let me do your website. Sis, let me show you how to do ads. You're going to have to learn to figure it out by yourself or hire a professional.
I love it. I love it. You're so true about that. So what are some of the steps to marketing? What have you, if you had to talk to those who are working on their book, what are some of the secrets that you do? And again, people look like, Ramon, how could you ask Elona that? Because people pay her for that. Well, I find it's like oil change. I've been on YouTube 4,782 times how to change my oil. Guess what? I'm going to tell you a secret. I go down the block and pay them to change my oil. So whatever you learn right now is going to open your mind. But trust me, I don't think Elona minds at all sharing it. So what are some of the things that we authors are missing or that we should learn, and put in a positive, that we should learn from you as we're launching our first books? What are 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever things that, hey, stop doing this and do this? What are things you could share with us?
The number one thing I will say is you need to start bragging about yourself. And you need to promote your book like it was released yesterday. So when people first release their book, they're excited all over social media. Everyone's buying copies, they're speaking, but then over time, they start to wane, right? So when they stop talking about it and they start pitching it, people are going to forget about it. So you need to continue to promote your book like it was released yesterday. I have a client, Elizabeth Liba. She actually sold 10,000 copies of her very first book. And she's with a traditional publisher, like a small traditional publisher. And if you see her on LinkedIn, she promotes that book like it was released yesterday. She does not stop. Best client ever. Let's see, what's something I really, really want?
So it's a continuous process, by the way, then it's not one and done. You're saying you could have published a book last year, 2 years, 10 years ago, whatever it were. I'm sure there's maybe some limit, but whatever it is, but you're constantly talking about it, promoting. It's part of your natural marketing. Am I hearing what I'm saying correct?
Exactly. So you want to build it into your ecosystem. So if you get a new client, you could build the price out and include the book, or you could give the book away for free. If you're speaking, there's no reason why you can't tell people about your book. Even if it's 2 years later, the book is still brand new to them. It's old to you, but it's new to millions and millions of other people, right? And there's actually something called a re-release. So if you really feel like you want to do a new cover, you want to add or subtract some of the content, do a re-release and make a big thing about it. And then you can have a re-release signing or a re-release talk, and you can bring more life back to it that way as well.
I love it. What are your thoughts? Can we get into politics a bit?
Okay.
I'm going to get into politics. It's going to be very uncomfortable for you. Very uncomfortable. Get into politics.
I don't know if you or your audience is ready. I was raised by Republicans.
Okay, well, here we go. Well, here we go. Here we go. Well, these are the politics. So I should have given you a warning. Here's the politics. Are traditional book publisher or do it yourself? That's the politics. There's a fight going on. Like people outside my window now demonstrating. Don't go with the publisher because they don't do jack for you. Some people are saying don't do it yourself because it looked busted and your book can't sell because people know you're cheap and did it yourself. Help us demystify which way to go. What's the real truth from Elona Washington?
So traditional publishers are not going to do it for you. You still have to do it yourself. I worked on campaigns with New York Times bestselling authors and USA Today bestselling authors, and they were hustling their books and they were self-published authors. Of course, we did the the editing, the book cover, all of that stuff. But they had their own team of marketers and a PR specialist and beautiful landing pages. They worked like they didn't have any support behind them. When people get that, they call it the signing bonus, that advance, but you got to pay it back. That money they want you to use towards marketing, and a lot of people don't. So, should you do traditional or self-publishing? If you're a woman, they say that 67% of self-published women authors have top-rated books. If you're a woman at a traditionally published house, that's only 38%. So women are seeing more success being self-published authors. But there's also, for some people, that burning desire, I don't know, some sort of validation to get traditionally published. It may not make sense financially, it may not make sense for your brand, but for whatever reason, you still want to be traditionally published. If you feel like that's something that you need to cross off your to-do list of life, go for it. You know, there's no reason behind it, but all the evidence points to the success of women self-published authors.
And why do you think that is, by the way? And do you know why that is? I know women have a beautiful smile and people use more women as models than anything else. I don't know if that's part of it, or maybe it's not. I don't want to, but is there any reason why did the studies say?
Traditionally published men authors exceedingly better than women. And I think it's because just the publishing industry as general.
Built-in bias, just systemic over the years, it's just skewed the whole system.
Exactly.
Got it. And then tell us, Elona, what is it like to work with you and or your sisters or brothers in the book publishing and or book marketing industry? Because I think you do both, correct? You do both the publishing and marketing, yes? Okay. So what is it like to work with you? Somebody comes in and maybe give us a few scenarios. I'll give you some, and if you don't like it, just give your own. But I have a book inside. Elona, I have a book inside me. Oh my God, I want to do a book about how my grandmama raised me and she made me eat bacon and grits for breakfast. Everybody has to hear the story, and I know you can do it. So I want to publish that book, and you know, it's about me and I want to do it. Okay, versus you're working with Jeremy, the accountant. I'm an accountant. You know, I could pay you to do it, but I want a book. So is there any difference in what you would tell those people, or give me a better scenario, but just wanted to, let's have some fun and talk about two different reasons for a book and what you would do.
The biggest lesson I learned in my entrepreneurial journey is small business owners don't want to do marketing. So I have accepted that. And the way I work is it's more done for you, a little bit of done with you, but not too much where they feel overwhelmed. So I like to get to understand the person, the reason behind the book, and what they're looking to get from the book. And then we put a plan together based on that. I don't do cookie cutter marketing for anyone. So what I like to see is an author who's passionate about their story, who wants to use it to help others on a healing journey or a lesson learned, right? And then they want to use their book to elevate their brand. A lot of people say, oh, I made $100,000 from my book. From book sales, that's incredibly hard to do. Traditionally published authors sometimes don't even do that, right? So the way you make $100K from your book is by leveraging all the opportunities that came with publishing. So my book was published in 2016. I don't know how much money I made, but I can tell you just this May, I spoke on Congressional Day of Action. I spoke to the Senatorial Judicial Committee about survivor legislation. And that came because journalists over the years have found me on Twitter. I have more than 2 tweets. Have found me on Twitter, have seen me speak, has read articles, op-ed pieces that I've done. So they consider me an expert because of my book, because I got those opportunities because of my book. And then I was awarded the opportunity to appear in rooms and conversations that I might not otherwise have done had I.
Got it. So it's not per se selling the book, which could be, but it's not per se Tom Clancy, or take your pick of the famous, mostly male audience, Dave Ramsey, who sold 10 billion books. That is a route. But you're saying for most regular people, and it's okay to be regular, is that it's the what the book gets you access to, using that as a hook for the thing. Is that fair to say? So with the example I gave you, a lady who wants to talk about her grandmom and her story, she may just print 500 copies of the book, give them out to her family, and she's done, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The accountant, he may use it. I've heard our mutual friend Lamar talk about this. He may print books and say, I just want to give it away to every chamber event I'm at with my business card. And that could work as an example, two different examples. Am I repeating what I think I'm hearing you say?
Exactly. And so I'll go back to my author, Elizabeth Leiba. She sold 10,000 copies. She has 185,000 followers on LinkedIn. She's a LinkedIn top voice. She spoke at Harvard. She's speaking at Georgetown. She's been in Forbes, New York Times, all of this stuff, right? So when I spoke to her, she said, yeah, everyone's asking me how to market, but really, I was just, promoting myself, all day, every day to buy the book and encouraging people to share, right, on LinkedIn. But then she goes, the one thing I didn't do that I need your help with is I never monetized my followers. So she has 185,000 followers and she's not doing anything with it. She says they're in her DMs asking, what's next? What are you going to do next? Are you going to have a conference? Are you going to speak? Like what's coming up next? And now that we're working together, she has something that she can say. We have a viable plan for the next couple of years. But just having a book and having that level of success, people are expecting you to do something else. And that something else don't have the capacity, just being a human being on earth, to do it by yourself. You need help.
I love it. I love it. Love it. With your permission, Elona, I think I asked you offline. Can we go a bit personal? That's okay with you?
Sure. I mean, okay. if you want me to bring it, I'm gonna bring it.
Yeah, no, I would. No, the reason why I would do it, I'm going to give people a heads up, not nothing heads up, but just that I think it'll help people.
Okay.
There are many people who are hurting, many people who are in despair, many people who are despondent, and I suspect, because you and I just get to know each other. I don't know what's coming, but your story may help people. So I want to just transition to know where you've been at. I think based on what you said offline, you had some dark periods in life, and clearly you've been able to overcome and become a victor. And I'd love to understand where you were, and then I'd love for you to answer the question. I'll remind you again how you overcame and became the amazing woman that you are today. Can you share that with us if you don't mind?
Okay. So I was raised by Ivy League Republican Muslims. So if you had any idea what a sheltered life looked like, this was me. So I graduated Howard, I finished Howard, and then I went up the street and became an exotic dancer. And my family was like, what is going on with you? Because, we were upper middle class. We don't know anything about this life. But I felt more at home in the strip club than I did at church, in my mom's house, on campus, anywhere, because I was so accustomed to feeling that way. Mm-hmm. And that was because of the abuse that I suffered as a child. So I know that I've been a survivor. I wrote my book in 2016. I had been speaking about it for years. And just last year, I'm realizing how it affected every area of my life, my professional life included. And I didn't think what happened to me personally could affect how I performed at work, but it did. So last year, for whatever reason, I started having my repressed memory started to return. So I started remembering things that I had blocked out as a child. And so I was suffering from PTSD and chronic depression, and it turned into suicidal depression. And then it got to the point where it started to affect my work performance, and it started to affect my personal life. my relationship with my son, everything, right? And so in my head, I said, well, I don't want to live with these memories. I don't want to live with my mental health diagnosis, and I'm doing everything wrong. I might as well just keep it. So I had a plan. I was going to see my son off to school. He's going to be a college freshman, and then I was just going to be done with it. So you know how, like, Robin Williams or Chester Bennington, I'm a big Linkin Park fan, how they were just smiling and they seemed so much joy and at peace. That's because they had made peace with their decision. They were going to do it. They were, you know, aware, and they didn't want anyone to change their mind. They were just soaking up what they could before they did the thing, right? That's how I was last spring. My psychiatrist, because my job put me on short-term disability, my psychiatrist called me on it and saved my life.
Wow.
So I decided when my short-term disability was up that I wasn't going to return to HarperCollins. I decided to work for myself. So think about this. I became an entrepreneur in the middle of my suicidal depression. So I started in July, and I had an episode on Christmas Eve because my son wasn't. And these little voices in my head were like, this is the perfect time to do it. We should do it now. And it got so bad, I ended up calling my therapist's office, and they talked me down. So I still was a member of Propel. And then a month later, I joined a mastermind in the middle of my suicidal depression. And I feel like it saved my life because I knew I had to do something different. I couldn't keep working, getting frustrated, quitting, starting another job. Like, I knew entrepreneurial life was for me. And I know a lot of people say they don't want to get started until all their ducks are, all your ducks are never going to be in a row. Your ducks could be in a row and you could start the entrepreneurial journey, but I guarantee you something's going to knock them ducks off. Like, that's just life. So becoming an entrepreneur in the darkest period of my life gave me so much growth and so much strength and just introspection. Like, I didn't realize I was this strong. I don't know. It's weird to say, but with all of the stresses of being an entrepreneur, people, you know, not fulfilling their contracts, you having a bad month, you still got to pay your mortgage. Your
Wait a minute. I thought that when our businesses are going a bit lower, the bank sends a little man with a smiley face and says, that's okay, we'll cut you slack this month. It doesn't happen to you?
Doesn't happen to me. Who do you bank with? Because I would like to bank with them.
You're right, Elona. You're right. No, thank you. You know what? I want to tell you something. My journey is different than yours, but the one thing that puts us together, and I grew up in a loving home with parents, and my parents are ministers, by the way, and great family.
My
and all
daddy's
that.
a preacher. I'm a preacher kid too.
Yeah, and great family and all that. But for whatever reason, I suffered with, I didn't know it was called this, suicide depressive thoughts for years.
Really?
And yes. And
I shared a good upbringing?
Yeah. And I shared a testimony about it, meaning in my church some months ago. So the point, I just want to say that to those listening, suicide obviously is a real thing. Depression's a real thing. And there's many people who are smiling. We're here right now who, I don't know about you, but right now, thank God, and other things that, thank God, period, that I'm delivered from that. But I just wanted to say that I wanted to empathize with you. I know those thoughts. So I have my own journey to share that I could, but this is Elona Washington's time. So, but I just want to say thank you for sharing that. And the reason I wanted that to come out, because yes, we talk about business, and I'm going to ask you again some other things about your business in a minute here, but I wanted people to see that, yes, we now know how to market your book, everybody listening, but two, those of you who are suffering, those of you who are depressed, those of you who are sad, those of you who have to go to work, go to your journey and smile, but inside you come home, the lights are off and you're crying. We are living proof that however you can, there's many paths to it, you can be free and you can be victorious. So I wanted everybody to hear that, Elona, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. And that's actually why I'm focusing on book marketing, because other people's stories throughout my life has saved my life. And when I read these stories from women that, I'll be stalking them on LinkedIn, then I'm jumping in their DMs. But I am sincere when I say I love their book and I want to help them re-release it and market it. It's because I can tell that they have good content. They have a good manuscript. They just didn't have the marketing team behind them. So for more people to experience it. And that's what I want to help people.
I love it. I love it. Let's touch on the path of how you've grown your business as well. What are some of the journey points that are growing your business itself? I always like to dive into how people's businesses are growing. Any tips and thoughts you can give us? Has it been just a regular slow growth, or is there any things, Ramon? Oh, we lost $1 million in this contract, or Oprah knocked on my door one day and said, "Here's 10 billion. Be my publicist." What was your journey? Some steps to what got you to today that have helped you.
So my journey is slow going. I haven't gotten my call from Oprah yet, but that'll happen.
I got you.
So my biggest lesson was to stop working with cheap people. The people who want to nickel and dime you and who they see your worth, but they still won't pay you your worth. And then they start referring you to their friends who still want to nickel and dime you and not pay you your worth. The moment I cut those relationships off, I started to get real clients. I started to see real growth. And I became less afraid of charging what I'm worth.
Yes. Stop working with cheap people. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that, Elona, it's funny because we hear about that, our mutual program, and you've mentioned Propel and TSP. Elona and I are both in a program called Traffic Sales and Profit together. And I must say that I get it that everybody wants to help everybody. Everybody wants to, oh no, Elona can't afford it, so I'm going to sell her the shirt. I could, it's supposed to be $299, $299, but she can't afford it. Here's for $7. But we're not Kmart or Walmart or Target or Amazon. Few of us are that. Well, we're pricing for the lowest bottom. So as my friend Seth Godin talks about, most of us smaller businesses, people charge a premium for what you're worth and match that to people who have the budget, who can pay you for what you're worth. And then with the wealth that we're blessed to have, you can feed the world. Go donate $10,000 or whatever you want to some children's fund. That's how I want to live my life. Is that what you echo too, Elona?
And that's what I learned in our program. Yes. Yeah. And plus my bank isn't taking my excuse when I said I had to cut down my price because they couldn't afford my services. They're not going for that.
That's right. I love it. I love it. What didn't I ask you? What else would you like to share with our audience, either about your journey, about growing your business, or about book marketing and publishing? Anything else I didn't ask you? Before you answer that, one more time, give us the name of your company and the websites we should use to reach you and who you serve. Tell us one more time, repackage who you are.
Give me so much in one time. Okay. Elona Washington. I take your book from passion project to passion project. You can find me at theauthor'sjourney.co. And I work with current and aspiring authors who wrote a book to help people heal, share a lesson, and to elevate their brand.
Love it. I love it. So anything I didn't ask you, anything you wanted to mention that I didn't ask you today that you wanted to touch on? This has been such a good conversation.
It really has. I really wasn't going to talk about the personal stuff till you made me.
That's an important part.
I can't think of anything other than, honestly, and people say it all the time, but I really believe it. If I can do it, you can do it. Mm. I mean, I only told you what I went through, but the emotional impact and the days and weeks and months of depression sitting on my couch, I didn't really show you what I was going through during that time. And I still decided to step out on faith and build a business. And since I joined our program, I tripled what I made last year in 3 months. So, and it's through suicidal depression. I did this all through suicidal depression. So if I can do it, you can do it.
I love it. Clearly, you are a very, very strong woman. Again, this is Elona Washington, who's given her website already. You can see her and all she does for help publishing or marketing your book, This is Ramon Ray and has been the Rundown with Ramon. You can get to know me better at RamonRay.com. If you want to be on the Rundown with Ramon, just email me, DM me, fax me, TikTok me, carrier pigeon me. I don't know what you like to do, but I hope you're enjoying this episode. And Elona, thanks for being with us today. I appreciate you so much.